I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good nights wherever you be watching this transmission. Welcome to a very special edition of We Didn't Poop Those Items. So, what exactly are they trying to feed us? And my advice to you is don't swallow the crap they feed you. So, welcome. Today is August 22nd, 2022. And let's see what they're trying to feed us and what they're trying to persuade us to know or understand or think. Remember, they're controlling everything. And don't doubt one bit that they're not trying to control the way you think or what you feel. All right, let's go. We didn't poop those items. What are they trying to feed us here? All right, guys, don't forget to our episode of Mike in the Night is working now, where we speak freely on Odyssey. You're going to want to go on there and actually watch what's going on. If you really want to know what's going on, one, I'm wearing the same jacket I'm wearing in that video, but to be very frank with you guys, you're going to have to go on here. Episode 453, Government Total Control, Logistics, Infrastructure, Taxation, Food, Big Pharma, Electric Cars. It just keeps going on and on. I couldn't even fit so much in the title. But there it is right there. If you guys want to join us on Mike in the Night, it is working now. The episode that wasn't working, been having a lot of troubles. We are, working it out and moving ahead and trying our best to lay into the Odyssey platform over time. We're laying in nice and easy. All right, let's spare a thought for those living in Canada. On this channel, we've been talking about the housing market for over 12 years. Most Canadian real estate markets fell from peak down as much as $355,000. You don't want me to show you what you could buy for $355 Canadian in the United States, what you could buy. Never mind what they've lost, but that's what's going on. Canada's exuberant real estate buyers are suddenly not so exuberant after interest rate hikes. Canadian Real Estate Association, and we've been talking about raising rates, need to come to curb inflation for the last 10 years. Then they finally, 4 or 5 years ago, raised rates, and they panicked and they slashed rates again, right? So pivot it. That's what they're calling it. Data shows that the composite benchmark made a sharp drop in July. Prices fell by tens of thousands of dollars at a national level, with 9 in 10 markets seeing a drop. Markets have seen a typical home values drop up to $355,000 from peak valuations. So there it is right there. Better Dwelling reporting that. Non-government entity, non-government. So this is actually something they're not trying to feed us. They're just telling us what's going on. And Better Dwelling has been doing that for, I don't know how many years I've been reading articles off these guys to try and find out what the truth is. Now let's get into some, what are they trying to feed us here? Here it is right here. So this Trump, Florida search thing has been a absolute front and center for Canada distraction. Front and center. So whenever you get friends that tell you this, look what they're doing to Trump, look what they're doing that guy is a bully and this and that. In Canada, that's what they see, right? You just send them this. I usually open this up from the mainstream real fake news, The Guardian from England, the real fake news, saying America dropped 26,171 bombs in 2016.
Hiya, pal.
That's Joe Pesci, by the way. He's in the soundboard with us. You know what I'm saying?
You're not going to find any records of Vincent LaGuardia Gambini practicing in any courts.
So there it is right there. You're not going to find any records of this, but this article's still up. And I have it screenshots, documented everything, because no one will believe this, that the America dropped 26,171 bombs in 2016. What a bloody end to Obama's regime. According to new figures, the U.S. dropped nearly 3 bombs every hour for 24 hours a day. Dare we think how Donald Trump will continue this legacy? So they're already painting Trump as a blood monger, blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to say, I'm not being pro-Trump or pro anything. They're all painted all these politicians are painted by the same brush. But what I'm trying to say is, when they're looking for distractions, this has been a big one in Canada. A lot of people, I'm hearing them say, oh, did you see, that criminal Trump? I think they went to the wrong person's house. I mean, there it is right there. I don't know when they're going to take this article down. It's actually pretty counterintuitive for what's happening today, right? So, clean energy. Prime Minister Trudeau questions business case for exporting liquefied natural gas to Europe. I think Canada needs to. I think you guys need to go back and watch a video I did. It's on YouTube and Odyssey. It's called my solar, I'm in a solar prison, Canada's protectionism. I can't find a solar inverter that's CSA approved in Canada that allows me to harness solar power and provide power to my house if the power goes out, because it's a public sector that controls the public works, right? You can't find anything that's CSA approved. You're going to go online and say, that's bullcrap, Mike. I could find an inverter, or I could find solar. I could find anything that's CSA approved in Canada and put it on your house. You're going to look, you're going to find stuff made and distributed in Canada, but none of it's CSA approved. So the Canadian government is putting a lot of protectionism on solar. They want you to go through a solar dealer that is actually funded by the federal government and given the green light to solar dealers to allow solar dealers to charge you 50, 60 grand for solar, because meanwhile you can get it for 6, 7 grand, hands down, no questions asked. But they're making you spend a lot more than you should. So there it is right there. So protectionism out of control. So there it is right there. So anybody that brings up that whole thing about, the bully and this and that, just send them this article. It's from The Guardian. All right, what's going on? Japan mulls deploying long-range missiles to counter China. So there it is right there. Japan's been rebuilding its military for the last 3-4 years after it gave it the green light to allow to rebuild. Since World War II, Japan didn't really have much of a military, but recently in the last couple of years, they've been given the green light, and we know why. It's all lobbying and the big industrial military complex obviously is going to stand to gain, and they're going to just say it's to gain jobs and blah, 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 and you know how it is, right?
We know that you're in there and that you're all alone.
Japan has been considering the deployment of 1,000 long-range cruise missiles to increase its ability to counter the growing regional military clout of China. The Japanese government has devised plans to upgrade its existing surface-to-ship missiles. Let me full screen this document scan here for you guys. Inside China's mainland, as well as North Korea, the newspaper reported, citing unnamed sources. So there it is. Upgrades would also need to be made to allow Japan's existing ships and aircraft to be able to fire the new missiles, which could hit land-based targets, the newspaper added. Again, spending more money on military while people are starving. And speaking of starving people, in New York City, Breitbart's reporting this, homeless shelter packed with 4,900 border crossers. Situation is dire. So the people that actually paid taxes, most of them war vets and stuff, and people even with college degrees, and people that have paid taxes their entire life and supported the infrastructure in America, don't have a spot in a homeless shelter because border crossers are taking it. And New York City's packed homeless shelter system is now housing about 4,900 border crossers, most of whom have arrived on migrant buses sent to the sanctuary city from Texas by Governor Greg Abbott. So they've been moving them out of those cities and into the the blue states, for them to handle this problem that's been happening. Pretty much really took off at the tail end of 2019, and we've been covering that on Mike in the Night in depth. Okay, Colombia, largest cocaine supplier to the United States, considers decriminalizing. There it is, right there.
Snakes? I don't know no snakes.
So there it is right there. The Washington Compost is reporting this. And Bogota, Colombia. It's the largest producer of cocaine in the world, the source of more than 90% of the drug seized in the United States. It's home to the largest Drug Enforcement Administration office overseas, and for decades it's been a key partner in Washington's never-ending war on drugs. Now, Colombia is calling for an end to that war. It wants to instead lead a global experiment decriminalizing cocaine. 2 weeks after taking office, the country's first leftist government is proposing to end prohibition and start of a government regulated cocaine market through legislation and alliances with other leftist governments in the region. Officials in South America and nation hope to turn their country into a laboratory for drug decriminalization. So it's time for a new international convention that accepts that the war on drugs has failed. President Gustavo Petro said in his inaugural address this month. So there it is, Colombia. And
JT.
That's for Justin Trudeau.
JT. I'm a lawyer.
So let's continue here. Augmented tech can change the way we live. but only with the right support and vision. This is from the World Economic Forum website. These people are dying to chip us. They're dying to put chips in everything. Like, can't we just live our lives and be left alone? Look at this. Healthcare applications, blah, blah, blah. All this stuff they want to do. The big picture. And technology has the ability to transform society and individual lives, particularly in the healthcare and mobility. So I don't know about you guys, but I believe in my natural immunity, and I don't even trust the science, right? So the thing is, I'm not a natural immunity denier. There's a lot of natural immunity deniers. We coined that term here on the channel. Natural immunity deniers. There's a lot of people that do not trust their own immunity, and they have to trust the science. Well, there's a lot of us out there that just don't want to be part of any of this crap, enforcing it onto people, right? I got to be careful what I say here on this channel, right? Brits will be paid to go without power-hungry appliances, says media. And I've been telling you guys, rolling blackouts are been coming out. We've been talking about this for the last 6-7 years, how to prepare. I got my solar shed ready to go. I'm going to get my solar plugged in the next couple of days. We're moving forward here as a household, and we're all in conjunction with each other. We all understand what's going on. We all understand what they're capable of doing. And I said that the preppers window is from November, December, January, February, March, if you're in the northern hemisphere. So if you're in the northern hemisphere, you're good to go. If those months go by and nothing happens and spring hits 2023, I think the time for them to play their cards is over. I think as everything starts to crumble and the narrative falls apart, I think after that, I'm not saying we're going to go back to normalization, because things weren't normal back in 2019 and 2018 with the world protesting with no confidence in governments. Okay, so the UK's national grid will offer rebates to consumers who avoid using appliances like washing machines, cookers, and game consoles during the evenings. Several media outlets reported on Monday, despite coming at a time of rising bills and the threat of blackouts, the service insists it's not about rationing. So they're insisting it's not about rationing, but it is. And we've been talking about back in 2019, one of the major reasons why Argentina and Chile protested back in 2019 was because their electricity bills went over 1,300%. Electricity went right through the roof. And that's the government's, again, controlling, paying the power grab and federalizing the infrastructure of electricity, the electrical infrastructure, and then charging what it feels like it has to charge. Remember back in the day when, well, a lot of people aren't old enough to remember, but before car insurance became mandated, you could buy car insurance for $10 a month. Nope, because it wasn't mandated. You didn't need car insurance. After they mandated car insurance and made it mandatory, guess what? Car insurance went from nothing to an exorbitant amount of money. Right? So there it is right there. And in a nutshell. So there it is, power hungry. So anyways, let's move on. Millions getting paid for turning off washing machines and game consoles. So there it is again. They're talking about this. And people in a first world country in the United Kingdom are asked not to use their electronics. And Western University reinstates mask and mandates and boosters. That's in Canada. I'm not going to comment on that because I'm going to get shut down. And our friend here, oh, I love this guy. You should see him on Mike in the Night. Oh, yeah.
Hiya, pal.
What's going on here?
We're not gonna hurt you.
So let me get a full screen on him here.
We know that you're in there and that you're all alone.
So Anthony Fauci, Joe Biden's top COVID-19 advisor, stepping down to pursue the next chapter. Again, maybe he might move into the food and beverage job or something else and still be on the federal payroll. I don't think a lot of these people could own their own businesses or do their own thing and make their own. I mean, unless they do inside trading and other criminal activities. So there it is right there. You go back on Mike in the Night last episode here, and we cover we just found that out recently, but I'm talking about, we talked about other things and a couple of bombshell videos on Mike in the Night we can't show here. So you're going to want to watch that. And there's a reason why they're feeding you that the next chapter. Yeah, they're feeding you the next chapter. What's the next chapter? Miami, Dallas?
Here, Miami, Dallas.
There it is right there. So what are they feeding us? That's why we didn't poop those items, because they're feeding us stuff. And Canada buys millions more doses of the Moderna's bivalent COVID vaccination, only in Canada. And I can't comment on that. Move on. And 2022 marks the deadliest year on U.S. roads in 2 decades. And we can't really comment on why. We know why. You know why. But we can't comment on why. But what are they saying here? According to National Highway Safety, died more vehicle crashes in January-March. The figure marks an increase of about 7% as compared to 8,935 fatalities projected for the same quarter in 2021. It's not saying why. Is it drinking and driving? Meanwhile, pedestrian deaths also rose 13% from 2020. We can't really say on here why, but yeah, there it is right there. And Twitter bans 7 embassies. Accounts of 7 Serbian embassies and a consulate in the U.S. have been suspended by Twitter. The foreign minister in Belgrade said on Monday Serbia has asked Twitter to unblock the accounts, arguing that such censorship of pro-European democracy that upholds freedom of speech was unacceptable. So there it is right there. They're going to keep feeding us whatever they could feed us. And meanwhile, in America, inflation bomb, American households spending over $700 more per month due to inflation. This is the truth here. They're not feeding us anything here. This is the truth. This is what's been happening. If you go back across our channel and you type in a word like inflation, you'll be shocked how we've been warning about inflation here on this platform for years. And no one, it's been like nothing. It's been like, I mean, I got a lot of people telling me off. Let's see if we could find something from, yeah, here we go. There it is. We must raise interest rates to curb inflation. Economy headed for a dramatic collapse. Prepare now. 4 years ago. This is when they cut rates, when they raised rates. Remember 2.5, 3 years ago? They actually cut rates. They actually cut rates after they raised rates. Wages not keeping up with inflation. Housing out of reach. A working poor society ahead in the West 7 years ago. Inflation creeping in, gas prices as high as $1.65 per liter, food set to skyrocket 3 years ago. It just goes on and on. We've been talking about this. Another major lie, hiding inflation, standard of living versus cost of living. It's all an illusion 4 years ago. But, I mean, I've been talking about it. At least I could go to bed at night knowing that at least I've been putting the warning signs out there, and whoever listened, and whoever prepared. And that's what we talked about on the channel for a long time now. Preparedness is what it's at. Preparedness is what is what it is. And if you could prepare and you could get a good structure in place, a good understanding of your needs and wants, and when we talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, then that was later picked up by bigger, I'm talking really big channels, separating your needs and wants. We talked about that back in 2016 on Mike in the Night. And it's kind of important. And taking what's important and actually, making sure you're putting your family first, your friends, and people that you love. Because in the end, this winter may be the winter. Maybe it may be nothing. And the videos right here, I made Prepper's window to be ready for November through March 2023. Preparedness months. There's a 99% chance I will be wrong, and I hope to God I'm wrong. And nothing really happens. It's all a scare tactic that they're kind of, because when you connect the dots and you try to figure out what's going on, it all points to them taking total control of our electricity, taking total control of our natural gases, logistics, transportation, taxing us to death. So it forces corporations to go insolvent, so governments will take over and start having white signs everywhere, and it's all government-approved crap. And that's what I'm afraid of. But it's all pointing to that, and I hope I am so wrong. Anyways, guys, Mike Martins for another special edition of
Don't worry about me.
We Didn't Poop Those Items. Again, what are they trying to feed us? And don't swallow the crap they feed you. There's a lot of good articles we read here that they're not feeding you crap. We read them here. Try and decipher between the real ones. Or not the real ones, or the kind of like, what are they trying to feed you, right? Because we didn't poop those items. Anyways, Mike Martins here signing off. Take care, and if you can't take care, stay safe. Mike Martins here. I have spoken.